If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email us midweekwrestlechat@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter @MWCUniverse, or the wrestling pest himself @PodcastJobber. And don't forget, you can find us on Facebook. Get involved and be a part of the Midweek Wrestle Chat on iTunes, Stitcher Radio and at Podbean. So welcome back. It is the Midweek Wrestle Chat. It's myself, Tony James, and Aaron Blanchard, a.k.a.
The Podcast Jobber.
There he is, @PodcastJobber on Twitter. So there you go. So listen, it's the moment we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
We're going to have to do this.
I think so. I'm very excited.
We're going to have to introduce the man to the Midweek Wrestle Chat. He's going to become a part of the MWCUniverse.
He is in a big way, yes.
Hashtag it on Twitter. That'll be
Piss,
lovely.
please.
Yes. Please welcome to the show, it's the one and only, Brodus Clay.
Hey!
Hello, Brodus. How are you?
Man, maintain it, man. I'm tremendous.
It's been a hell of a week for you. It's got to be said. What a week to have. How are you actually feeling yourself? I've noticed that online and any interviews I've heard, you're a very positive man.
Yeah, well, there's nothing really to be negative about, you know. I think it was on both sides. It was just much needed change. It happens. It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And I'm, for one, I kind of needed it. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of, like, I still, you know, love the, you know, wrestling and entertain and do those things. And, you know, being in the bullpen just wasn't enough for me. You know? It's awesome. And that's, you know, that's how you got to live your life. Maybe, so I'm good, man. Like, I'm good, man. I know some guys are bitter. Some guys get upset, but I think they have to. They're not looking in the mirror, you know.
Yeah.
Could I have been better? Could I have done more? Absolutely. Could certain things broke a different way? But I can't really focus on that. You know, like, all I know is that I'm still here, and I'm given an opportunity still to entertain, and I'm going to do that.
Well, I think one of the biggest things they say in wrestling is never say never. There's a long time in the future to go. Is it somewhere you'd want to be back in the WWE? Would you be happy to go back there?
To WWE?
Yeah.
You know, at some point, yeah, I guess so. You know, I just haven't really given it much thought. You know, like, you know, I was the first time I was released. You know, my goal was to, you know, learn how to wrestle and get in a wrestling ring, and I accomplished that.
Yeah.
And you know, I accomplished a lot of things the second time around with the Funkasaurus and myself, and training, and, you know, getting opportunity to do movies and commercials and things like that. So I'm at peace with my time there right now, and you know, you never say never, but, like, it's just something haven't given a lot of thought to. It's like it's like saying, like, your girlfriend or your wife leaves you,
yeah,
and then you're like, well, one day we'll get back. You know, she left you, so you have to accept the fact that she's gone. You know, and she's not coming back. And as long as, and everyone knows that guy.
Yeah,
yeah.
You hate going out to the pub with that guy who's still telling you stories about him and his girl from last summer. You know, and you're like, bruh, it's over. You know, like, let it go. And and that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. You know, we were married. I came home from work. My stuff was outside. There was another guy in the house raising my kids under his principles, his belief system. And, you know, that's where it is. So
I was going to say, do you mind me asking, I mean, what is that process like? I mean, when did you hear about the fact that you were being released? Is it a pretty quick thing, or did you have the feelers out there for it?
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't. Like I said, I live in the now, to quote Harry Smith.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, it's just like anything else. Like, release is just like any other job.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
You either get called in the office, or you get a phone call, and they tell you they're moving on, and then you say, okay, thank you for your time, and, you know, you part ways as friends, and you move on.
Well, it's a nice positive outlook.
There's nothing spectacular about it. I mean, I would imagine that, you know, everyone who gets fired or released, it just depends on the individual.
Yeah.
You know, I guess if you want to, some guys try to, you know, living in denial, or, you know, they might want to try to say something smart, or I never wanted to be here anyway, or some stupid stuff like that. But, you know, they're a class organization, and I pride myself on being, you know, a class individual in terms of like, you know, fulfilling my obligations and doing my job, and you know, busting my ass every day. I work hard, and so I have no regrets and nothing to feel about it. And I would imagine they feel the same way.
That's brilliant. That's such a great outlook. Let's go a little bit back in time. Tommy Dreamer, he's a hardcore legend. Had a lot to do with you getting into wrestling. And
he is everything to do. There's no, if it wasn't for him, there would not be me. No question. Hands down. He saw something to me that I didn't even see. So.
Well, it was probably there was quite a famous story of you having a little bit of a. There was a fight that broke out in a club you used to work at, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Being a lifelong wrestling fan, I tended to bounce clubs like those were matches.
Right.
I hit finish. Tongue and death grip was my finish. For all the guys that, you know, went to sleep, you can't prove it, and I'm sorry. And I used to talk to the guys while the fights, you know, very Bane-like, you know, like, your beer has made you weak, you know, stuff like that. So, and Tommy saw that, and actually he ended up working the night with me. You know, it was two little guys in a fight over a girl who didn't really want to be with him.
Right.
And she left him, and then as I stepped in, because Tommy was there, and I was just, you know, very excited that he came to my club, and I was, you know, enjoyed shooting, you know, talking to him and stuff like that. So I had to get away to break up the fight. So I told the guys I wasn't going to kick him out, give him a chance. And one of them hit me in the arm, and it was a terrible punch, childlike really. And because girls saw them hit me, it was like, oh, they hit him. I was forced at that point. I mean, I had a rep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gorilla Monsoon, I double naganaga them, and as the two guys fell down, I picked them up by their belts and suitcased them out. And the suitcase is when you hold a guy by his belt and his arms and legs kind of hold down, so he looks like a little suitcase. And I carried him out, and then Tommy jumped down and actually carried one of the guys to his car, because apparently during the fall or something, one of them was unconscious. It was a thing. I don't really know how it happened. And Tommy carried him like 2 football fields to his car, while the guy had his arms around him, telling Tommy that I was an animal. And I offered Tommy a job, and then he said, well, you need to do that stuff on TV. And I was like, yeah, right. And we parted as friends. As a fan, I was like, that was awesome. And then, he called me a few months later, and, I got me a tryout, and that's why I met Bill DeMott. And Bill was really like like a father figure and a coach, and just, he pushed me, and he gave me an opportunity. So, those are really the 2 people that stand out, Bill DeMott and Tommy Dreamer, and John Laurinaitis. There's so many guys that helped me along the way that were just there, were patient with me. And, those are the guys. Remember the first time I did a forward roll, I almost killed myself. So, because from playing football and basketball, learning how to be a WWE superstar is completely different. But you have to be an athlete. So I was lucky that I, had those intangibles to get me where I needed to go. So, but there were so many people that helped me and had the patience, to stand with me. And guys like Dean Malenko, Fit Finley, Arn Anderson, Mike Rotundo, Road Dogg, Mr. Armstrong, the entire Armstrong family, Dr. Tom Pritchard, William Regal, who mentally is probably my favorite person in the world to talk to.
And a Brit.
Love Regal.
Yeah, well, yes. And Dave Taylor is legit the toughest guy I've ever known.
Yeah.
And doesn't age a day. Like, Dave Taylor looks 22 years old. I mean, he's just, and he hates every time he sees it. He picks on me. I'm in the States, biracial, which is technically black. My father was black, my mother was Scottish, and usually I would get, I get stuff from guys about, the brother comments or whatever. And I remember Taylor, he's like, oh. And I was like, what, is it from black? He's like, no, because you're Scottish. So like, he was a class act and one of my, favorite guys, best uppercut of all time. And there's just so many different, Norman Smiley, Steve Kern, my idol, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. There's just so many different guys that I just enjoyed my time. You see, it's like, as a fan of the business and as an opportunity to perform, this stuff isn't promised. You're not guaranteed 20-year career and all that kind of stuff. And the time that I was at WWE, I worked hard every day. I brought my stuff. I'm there. I did what I had to do to be there, and I'm grateful.
That's great. I mean, I was going to say, as a fan of wrestling, a lifelong fan, would you say?
And I'm still I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm still a fan.
Yeah.
One of the downside of being let go is now I have to pay for the network, but that's fine. I'll gladly pay for the network. I enjoy watching the classic matches. So,
being a fan, you get to actually work with some of these people that you've watched on television in wrestling for all those years, and then all of a sudden you're thrown in and you're with these people and you're learning from these people. That must be alone just an incredible thing.
You're in there with the Double A.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
you're in there with Fit Finlay. You know?
Yeah.
Fit Finlay is the greatest heel in the history of wrestling. Don't let anybody fool you.
Yeah.
You know? And
he's legitimately tough as well, isn't he?
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah.
And I got my headbutt, which everybody, you know, was always, and that was from him, and he used to hit me with that in the hallway. And I never asked, you know, I'm like walking down the hallway and get a headbutt from Fit, you know, and I'm like, I'm going to do that in the ring, you know. So I just didn't, you know, I enjoyed my time there. And I never looked at it like anything else. And I'm not going to look at it any other way, you know.
No, that's cool.
You know, and there's negative people out there like you never won a championship, you know, and you never did this and that. Junkyard Dog never won a championship. Andre the Giant never won a championship.
Jake the Snake.
Bundy never won a championship. Jake the Snake, you know.
Yeah.
So I look at it that way. And in an era where everybody's a champion, people remember me and I didn't have one. So that, you know, that's something to be proud of.
And the fact
but don't get me wrong, there's another part of me that wanted to hear Howard Finkel and knew, you know, but, you know, that's one of those things that, like, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but...
There's still time. There's still time.
One of my... I've got to say, the music. You and the Funkadactyls, what an entrance. Honestly, when that music hit, I loved it. I just enjoyed it. It sort of lit up the place. And I was listening to you say you could hear a pin drop when you first came out with that, on the first night you introduced it. Tell us about that.
Man, I went through that curtain. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, you know. And they were just like, and I'll never forget, and I don't know where this guy's at, but, man, he had his head shaved like the Macedon of Mayhem and, you know, the Juggernaut and the Colossal Wrecking Machine, Brodus Clay, and he was fired up, and he was, like, waiting for me to kill the Earth and, you know, from Planet X and all that stuff. And his mouth was just wide open, and he was just traumatized. And then he got this horrible frown on his face while I was in the ring, and he was like, "You suck, Brodus Clay." And I just yelled out, "My bad," and it just echoed, and everyone started cheering after that. So if it wasn't for him, my bad wouldn't have got over. Then I was like, "Should I get him?" And he was like, "No, just get out of the ring." You know, he was just so upset. Yeah. So it was what it was, and it was just truly like from that moment on. And I'll always remember Road Dogg, who the week before I was supposed to debut, and he's like, "It's got to be in Memphis, man. Can't be in Corpus Christi. They will hate it there. You don't want to do it. Oh, we're going to do it next week. Corpus Christi is the best place to do it. You're going to love it there." I mean, like, the Road Dogg was just like, I couldn't have done it without him. You know, like when you look at talking and just entertaining, he's one of the greats. And the Funkasaurus, you know, man, how many hours sitting there with him and the American Dream, you know, just getting my mind right.
You've just said it, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Now, that's when you came out and you started dancing and doing all your bit, I just pictured Dusty Rhodes in my head and the American Dream. And when he used to come out dancing, was there a bit of inspiration taken from him?
Oh, absolutely. Of course. Anybody who ever watched wrestling has done it. But Dusty Rhodes cannot be duplicated, imitated, and if you try to, you will fail miserable. I didn't want to be the next Dusty Rhodes because there can't be one. I wanted to be the first Funkasaurus, Brodus Clay. I think I was bigger, more aggressive than, you know, and I still had some scientific wrestling that I wanted to count my T-bones and my elbow, and I wanted to be you know, tactically solid, you know, so I wanted to be different, and I think I was, you know, but to be in the same conversation as the American Dream, as Junkyard Dog, I'll take it, but, you know, that there's only one American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and if you try, you will fail miserable. Like trying someone to be the next John Cena, or someone to be the next, you know, Ultimate Warrior, rest his soul, or Hulk Hogan, or Scott Hall, or Kevin Nash, or Triple H. You just can't, you know, you don't want to be the next one because there isn't one. You can only be the first you. And I think I accomplished that. So,
and you also got to work with Tensai, and you formed your tag team, which was great. Tell us a little bit about working with Tensai, because this guy had worked all over the world, right?
Okay, hands down, you always hear the term, "Oh, he's a great big guy," and this, that, whatever. He's a great performer and one of the smartest guys in the ring. His ring psychology is just amazing. You know, I'm better for tagging with him.
Did you travel with him?
Great guy. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I know that the podcast Jobber, you wanted to ask some of your favourite people to travel with, or did you pretty much hit the road on your own?
Traveling is sacred, so I won't ever discuss what we did together. But the guys I like to travel with, Santino, Sandow, me and Heath Slater listening to music. I will tell you one thing about traveling with Heath Slater.
Okay.
He is the worst DJ in the world, and I'll tell you why. He has a story about every song, and he has to tell you the story of every song. And we listened to a lot of music together, and he'll be like, "Oh man, this one song reminds me of the time me and my boys had just graduated high school, and it was our last night together. And man, I'm getting choked up just thinking." I'm like, "Play the damn song, man! Play the damn song!" You know, and he would always do that, and it just our group was Stained. You know, we listened to a lot of Stained and sing in the car, and he would every song. "This song reminds me of the time," and I'd be like, "Oh God, just play the damn song. Please play the song. Stop talking.
Yeah,
we got a 4-hour drive. We're at song 2. We've been in the car an hour. You know, just stop."
I was going to say the schedule for WWE is so massive. And I don't think people realise it's not just when they see you walk to the ring and have your match, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. There's so much more to it. Do you get much downtime?
Not really. But and the thing is, like, it's not, in your off days, it just can't be off days. You gotta train, you gotta, eat right, you gotta do your thing. You gotta always develop your character. So it's a full-time gig, and it's demanding, and you're going to lose a lot of things, and
So if you do get an occasional day off, you've got your family and kids and all the rest of it, I guess your time is spent with them and catching up.
Yeah, for me, it's ironic because everyone talk about call your mama, somebody call my mama.
Yeah.
And for me, because, I don't have any relationship with, like, family and things like that, I've kind of been, like, foster kid on my own growing up.
Right.
So I didn't really have a lot of time in terms of, like, family stuff. So for me, it was more of my hobbies and friends and training and things like that. So I can't really talk about like the family stuff because it just never was really a part of my day-to-day operation, so to speak. Lone wolf, so to speak.
Lone wolf.
I suppose that can, in a way, make it a little bit easier being on the road so much, I guess.
Yeah, because I traveled my entire life. Moved around a lot, and so lived out of a suitcase, college, football, we were on the road all the time, so,
cool.
And bodyguarding and all that stuff, so.
Yeah, of course, you were Snoop Dogg's bodyguard, famously reported, before you went into wrestling, and then you were released and went back to work for Snoop Dogg again, because didn't he say that you could always be a bodyguard? And so he's really supportive of what you were doing.
Oh, yeah, tremendous.
Have you had contact with Snoop since you've been released?
He's in Europe right now, or just got back from doing a tour in Europe, but we have the same manager. I'm managed by Kevin Barkey at Stampede Management. So, he sent his condolences and all that good stuff. And I'm going out to L.A. In a couple weeks because I got some secret stuff going down that I'm not willing to talk about just yet. But I'll be making an announcement. And I'm excited. I'll probably see him when I'm out there, I'm sure.
That's cool. That's real cool.
Podcast Jobber, you said to me before we started chatting with Brodus that you had a few questions you wanted to ask. Why don't you go for it?
Yeah. Aside from the wrestling in WWE, what was the next best aspect about working for them?
The movies, the commercials, and then the fan interaction. The little Funkosauruses sending me their workout or dancing stuff.
That's cool.
It was good.
I've heard a quote from Jim Ross. Jim Ross, you've probably heard this yourself. And it says, if Brodus can maintain a healthy athletic weight so he can feed the comebacks appropriately, he has a shot at becoming a main event level heel. And that's something he said very recently. Jim Ross is a legend in this industry. To hear people like that talking about you in that way, how does that make you feel?
I've always liked Mr. Ross, and one of the big things he called like 2 of my matches, and I'll never forget him because I think he was the greatest voice in the history of this business.
Agreed,
he told the story, and it's sorely missed because when he was calling the stuff, it was about the the wrestlers. You know, he painted that story. You know, and he made you jump off the couch and believe it.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's always given me praise, and he's always been brutally honest, and that's what I love about him. And I haven't liked everything he's always told me, but I've always respected everything he says. And the fact that, he says those things, that he set the bar, and I'm going to try to meet it. And he's like he's like that coach. He's like that head coach. He doesn't talk to you much, but when he does talk to you, he means it. And if you don't take it, and grow from it, I don't know what to tell you. But just the fact that, I'm still coming out of his mouth when he doesn't even need to talk about anything, is a tremendous honor, and I'm going to try to live up to those expectations.
You were at WrestleMania 30. You were in the Battle Royal, weren't you?
Yeah, I was in there.
Yeah, it was.
yes, sir. I was in there.
But to be a part of WrestleMania 30, I was going to say again.
Khali putting hands on me.
Oh no!
I could have won if he wasn't leaning on me.
Well, you were tipped. You were up there. There was Big Show was mentioned, and you were mentioned as a possible winner.
Didn't quite work out.
It didn't quite work out. It's one of those things. But one of the biggest shocks for me at WrestleMania, and as you were there in person, this is what I want to get a feel of what it may have been like backstage when The Undertaker lost his streak.
Still don't believe it.
Right.
Still waiting for someone to walk out and go, ha ha, just kidding.
Yeah, his foot was on the rope.
So no one knew. No one had an idea.
No, and I wouldn't want to know.
Yeah.
I watched that match just like I watched him and Triple H, him and Shawn Michaels as a fan, glued to the TV, and heroes live forever. John Wayne, Michael Jordan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Undertaker.
Brilliant.
No one wanted to see Darth Vader die at the end, but it happened, and we'll all remember it. And that's who he was.
Of course, they do say that a wrestler, when he loses like that for their final match, that's what they would do. So, do you think this is the end of The Undertaker?
He has defied logic. He has defied history his entire career.
Yeah.
So I'm not ever going to try to predict anything when it comes to The Undertaker. I just know that he's a great mind for the game. He's a teacher, and he's got pretty good one-liners. But he was one of those guys that I never really liked talking to because of the image I had in my mind. Dead guys don't talk to you. So,
right.
But I always enjoyed talking to him when I did get a chance to talk to him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ever speculate on the Undertaker because I feel like the only people who should talk about Undertaker is his peer, and I would never consider myself his peer in terms of his accomplishments in the ring. And I really feel he's probably the greatest superstar of all time in terms of you can say what you want to say about Hulk Hogan, and you can say and Ric Flair and stuff like that, but the Undertaker maintained a high level his entire career. There was no dips. He never changed. Every time he walked out, he was the main event. I'll leave that up to the guys on his level to talk about him, and I'm not one of them.
Is he one of the guys you would have liked to have worked?
Yeah, of course. Just to be out there for that music to hit, to say I was in that ring. And I never experienced that. But the other side of it is I'll always have as a fan perspective. So, but as an entertainer, of course, never working him or Cena was something that will always eat at me. But you can't control that.
You're pretty big on the a protest against dolphin hunting at the moment. What's the deal?
I will be going with Lincoln Berry and to protest. And like I said, I have been a marine biologist wannabe my entire life. David Attenborough was a saint.
Yeah.
And grew up watching him and doing my own little animal excursions growing up. So it's very important to me. And one of the things on my bucket list was, you know, I never got a chance to do, you know, because of football and basketball and my career path and wanting to be in athletics and entertainment. You know, studying marine biology just wasn't something I could continue later in college. So a chance to be a part of something like that is tremendously important. I didn't think I'd get the response I did when I said I was going to go do it, but it's been a really big response, and I'm excited about going and can't wait to do there and do my part. And it's more about building awareness, you know, and in fairness to the Japanese fishermen and stuff like that. You know, they got families to feed, and I'm sure, and it's about, you know, it's about showing them another way. It's not stopping them. I'm not going to go power bomb them, and all that kind of stuff. But like, just show them that, or at least try to set up a dialogue to where, like, you know, you could make more money doing dolphin cruises all year long and feed your family, and, you know, and continue to grow and build a tourist thing and fill up hotels and fill up amusement parks and things like that, as opposed to the quick fix of, you know, slaughtering some dolphins for a short-time payday. So it's more about building awareness and stuff like that. And honestly, I don't think any of them, you know, I'm not a hippie or anything like that. You know, I eat meat, you know, like everybody else. But I do think you can build awareness and show another way up. So I'm not going out there to put hands on people, but at the same time to show them, like, because sometimes if something's too extreme, you know, it gets into that liberal in America, the liberal and conservative and all that kind of stuff. That's not what it's really about for me. It's more about, you know, like, these are awesome creatures, and, you know, and we should be studying and learning from them, and opposed to, you know, they have their own language, and there's so much more that I think that we can learn from them opposed to, like, chopping them up. And most people, you know, they don't eat dolphin, and they don't want to eat dolphin, and so it's about just opening eyes, you know. And,
so we won't see you suitcase into Japanese fishermen then? I
mean, I've always lived by, if they put hands on me, watch their ass. But, like, I don't think I'll be the one they pick. They're not bad people, and they're always, like, shown that way. But, you know, they need to realize that these fishermen have families to feed, and, you know, what's their education level. I mean, there's so many other things. They're not these evil monsters, you know. They're just men trying to feed their families and, you know, whatever. So, but I just disagree with how they did their job, and I have the voice to maybe do something about it, so I'm going to try. But that's the message of most, and TMZ kind of missed the point on that. So I don't want, it's not like a hate thing. I understand it. You know, like growing up in poverty, I understand you got to do what you got to do sometimes, and it ain't pretty. We've all been there. So they're not bad people.
Just got a couple more questions. The main one, which I've got to ask, is what was your biggest highlight working in WWE for you?
Oh, that's a great question, man. MCing the main event for WrestleMania, coming out with the Mama Clay and the Bridge Club,
right?
wrestling Edge, CM Punk, tagging with Tenzai, working Big Show.
That's so much, isn't there?
That one moment.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite guy to wrestle was Heath Slater.
Really?
I think we probably wrestled 1,000 times, and best jab, and I just enjoyed messing with him in the ring. And one of the things he used to do is he would practice his little catchphrases all the time.
Right.
And he had this thing where he was like, "You're the lawn, and I'm the lawnmower," and I heard him practicing it all day. And we got out in the ring, and we're standing across from each other, and before he could say it, I yelled it, "You're the lawn, and I'm the lawnmower," and the crowd cheered, and he said his look on his face, and he got all ginger red. "That's my catchphrase." I'm like, "Not mine. I said it first." And he was livid, but he probably hit me the hardest I've ever been hit in my life with his jab that night. But he was one of those guys I just loved working. You know, I just enjoyed it. So many guys, Sandow, T.J. Wilson. So I'd like to say on one career highlight, Dolph Ziggler, pay-per-view match against Dolph Ziggler. I think was really the Funkasaurus's highlight in coming out career, and one of my favorite people on the planet.
Well,
as I always say to him when I see him, well, That's all you can say.
Right, I get you, we get you. Aaron, podcast jobber, have you got any more of your brilliantly crafted questions for...
Ooh, sarcasm. Love that.
No, it's great, he's great. He's been very excited because podcast jobber used to be, over here in the UK...
Can we change that name to podcast enhancer?
Yes.
Jobber is such an ugly term.
But, well, he actually named it himself.
Let's call it enhancing.
Right, well, officially, we're going to have to change all branding now. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I love it. I'm over.
Right, I'm not going to argue with the man. There's no way I'm going to argue with Brian.
Well, I'm going to call it podcast enhancer.
Okay. He did have another nickname, the podcast Wrestle Pest.
Okay.
But
enhancer.
Sounded a bit
Enhancer.
perfect. Yeah, we'll go with Enhancer. Yeah, I'm not arguing any more with him. But you had some, Mr. Enhancer. Did you have any questions left?
Yeah, it was. I understand you have a degree in teaching.
Yes.
And I'm also a teacher myself. I teach people how to cook and stuff. So I was wondering, have you ever any thoughts in the future of like maybe having a wrestling school?
I think wrestling schools with the WWE. With the phenomenal facility in Orlando, the Performance Center. I think that's pretty much the University of Wrestling, and then the various schools in Europe and things like that. A wrestling school, I don't know if I'd necessarily be interested in doing a wrestling school. I'd probably rather do like guest appearances and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course,
if I'm going to teach, I'm going to go back and coach high school football, teach history, and English and things like that. Maybe a science class, to educate. That's more my education expertise.
Cool.
Character development, entertainment, something like that down the line. I'd like to teach something like that, yes. But
that'd be
nice. Opening a school, probably not. Just because I think like that's kind of an oxymoron now in terms of like you open a wrestling school. Well, if a guy's got his degree and he's in shape, he should go try out with the WWE or he should go overseas to learn his skill. In the States, I just don't think wrestling schools, with what's going on with the WWE Performance Center, if you can't be there, then maybe you need to think about some other things.
That's cool. Also, who do you think is going to be the next big star?
Oh God, there's so many. If they're not now, I mean, Wyatt's changed the game. Shield, Roman Reigns. Sandow's a tremendous star.
What do you think about what they're doing with Sandow at the moment?
He's just showing how round he is. How he's an entertainer. He's a tremendous entertainer.
Because we were talking about this. Me and Tony were talking about this, and we think it's brilliant.
Yeah, he is absolutely. He can do it all.
It is. He is very funny.
I'd look out for Neville.
Yeah, you had a great back in NXT. You went back there.
Yep.
And that was brilliant.
Oh, it was tremendous. And, knocked out his front teeth. That'll show him. But he got me back. He hit me in the face with a belt. So, he got me. But it's all good. I enjoyed that. Very proud of that. And that was my last one.
We're sorry. The number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Hello?
Yes! Oh, let's celebrate!
We did it!
Yes!
This is like winning the World Cup. Honduras, we did it!
Yes!
For those people that are listening, we must say that we've had a few technical issues because we're trying to talk to the other side of the world, but we finally got back in touch with Brodus.
During the World Cup. So,
during the World Cup.
Internet, Wi-Fi, pandemonium. But we did it, guys. We did it. So many people I want to thank. I want to thank the good people at Sprint.
Yeah.
On my end, for not. I should have went with Verizon.
Yeah.
But we did it. We're here.
Listen, Brodus, all I want to say is because you've been fantastic letting us do this. You've been great talking to you. What does the immediate future hold for you now?
Are you guys? How far are you guys from the UK Comic Con? It's coming up in November.
I believe there's one in Birmingham, the Memorabilia show.
Yep, I will be there.
I'll tell you what.
We'll be there too.
So will we.
So, you guys point me in the right direction to a good Guinness. I would appreciate it.
We can do that. We're
definitely
out there.
We can hang out. That's good.
I got a big movie role that I'm not going to talk about just yet, but just in the next couple of weeks. I'll probably do a press release, but not anytime soon. And of course, obviously, I'm going to Japan September 1st with Lincoln Berry and Richard Berry, and we're going to go out there and do that protest on the Dolphins in Japan. And then, of course, be doing a lot of independent wrestling promotions all over the United States, and looks like I'm going to get a couple over on your side of the woods.
Brilliant.
And get a chance to go over in Scotland and see if I can find any Murdochs. See if they look like me at all. I don't think they will, but we'll see. You never know.
I don't know.
And
maybe.
Going to get a chance to me and Drew McIntyre. We might go out there. So that's his homeland. So he's going to show me around.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So I got a lot going on, and then I got out here in the States. I got Fit Camp, and I'm doing the sensible portion things where we're portioning out meals for people so they can watch the calories, cut weight, still be active, and be normal. So I'm looking for that. You can always check that out on my Twitter. So, man, I'm busy, and it's good to be busy, and I'm going to stay busy. And anytime you guys want to talk, and we can talk about anything, guys. It doesn't have to be wrestling. We can talk about entertainment, sports. I got to learn my soccer game a little better.
Yes.
My draw.
Losing.
Well, but I at Hard Knock South we have a pool, and I drew Honduras, help me, and I drew Chile. But Chile's doing, we're putting it on Spain. I believe we're up 2-0.
Yeah,
and that's
2-0 up against Spain right now.
Yeah, and sending Spain home. So end of an era, Spain.
Brodus, you know more about football than I do. I'm no good at football. Aaron, you know everything about football.
Yeah,
I know nothing.
I love football.
Well, listen, there's a couple things that I'm good at, and one is darts. I'm a big cricket man,
right?
And one of the things that I love is when I was in UK tour was they had a dart tournament, and their pyro and vignettes were amazing.
Yeah,
There's a good chance that if I'm ever invited to a dart competition, I guarantee you I will do the closest thing to a Funkasaurus entrance you will ever see, because that's the only other place besides the WWE where you could possibly, have that kind of specter and just the grand scale and the crowds just amazing. And
I'm setting
huge dart fans.
Look at it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to set it up for you. We're going to hold a dart tournament, and we'll try and coincide it with the Comic-Con, the memorabilia show in Birmingham.
I am there.
There's got to be a darts event at that time of year. There has to be. So we'll sort that out.
It has to be. I mean, it's you can't have the UK without the Queen and darts. You just can't have it. You can't have it. So
I'm a big dart fan as well. I'm a big dart fan too. So.
Yeah.
I'm learning things about you, Aaron. I'm learning things I didn't know.
Yeah, a big dart fan. Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Well, you have to detect. You have to question. It's like I didn't really know much about Sweet Tea till after we broke up. I was like, you lift weights? I had no idea. I didn't know. I knew he didn't wear hats for obvious reasons. Biggest head I ever seen in my life. I have a big head, but this guy's head is unreal.
Do you know how long it took to tattoo that before every show?
Yes. They started on Wednesday and they finished on Sunday.
Amazing.
The Earth. If you're religious, the Earth was built in 6 days, and Tenzai's head was tatted in 5. So you can just look at it that way.
Hey, listen, we need to get Tenzai on. It's right of reply. Do you know what I mean? We need to get him on the show, see what he's got to say about that.
Oh, yeah, he'll go, what? No, my head's fine. It's fine. What are you talking about?
Listen, Brodus, once again, I've got to thank you for coming on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure, an absolute dream, an absolute honour, and all those good things to talk to you, find out a little bit about you, especially coming... Is this the first UK show you've done?
Yes, and yep, absolutely.
It's an exclusive. It's right there. It's a UK exclusive.
Awesome.
And for that,
thank you guys.
And we're gonna come and see you in Birmingham. We'll come and say hello in person.
We'll go for a drink. We'll go for a drink and a game of darts. How about
that? I'm holding you guys to that. Don't make me come find you.
No, it's going to happen. Fine. Once again, Brodus, thank you very much, and good luck with everything you've got going on. You're a busy man. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you much. And remember, guys, marinate on that enhancement, not jobber. Marinate on that.
Oh, we're thinking about it.
Okay.
Speak to you soon.
Cheers,
Brodus. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email us midweekwrestlechat@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter @MWCUniverse. or the wrestling pest himself at Podcast Jobber. And don't forget, you can find us on Facebook. Get involved and be a part of the Midweek Wrestle Chat on iTunes, Stitcher Radio and at Podbean.